Yo, what's up, guys? Drill here from Drill Game Vlogs. I was sitting around for the last few days, racking my brain on how I wanted to approach this video. Because I knew I wanted to make this video, I just didn't know how I wanted to address it. For a lot of people, everyone's gut reaction to all the various shootings of people. I'm not going to, police and civilians. Um, Everybody had different reactions, gut reactions, and obviously everyone had their opinions towards those other people for having the opinions that they did, and it became a whole big thing. And I didn't want to come up here and say what everybody else would say. Back when the Trayvon Martin stuff happened, it was the same shit. People threw out the same lines and the same words and the same bull. And as we seen, it wasn't like that changed anything. Because people said, "Oh, we got to do better," da 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 da, and people just kept dying. People just kept dying because the system is flawed. But more than the system, the core of this problem, along with most other problems, is people themselves. I don't inherently believe one side is absolutely right and one side is absolutely wrong. I'm not with that. I don't think that the people who believe it was a race issue was absolutely right, and I don't believe people who think it was, that it's a cop issue exclusively is 100% right either. Um, I'm the kind of person who believes that we are moving forward. I know when shit like this happens, a lot of people don't think we're moving forward. A lot of people think that we're just regressing, but I beg to differ. We are moving forward, but the one thing I agree with is that the change that people want in regards to this kind of stuff ain't gonna happen in most of our lifetimes. Most of the black revolutionaries didn't even get to witness the day, can't even imagine the day of today where we are allowed to do as much as we are, like respectable human beings that we are. Um, I feel like people would just be. I feel like those revolutionaries would just be happy that we're walking down the street next to. I think the black revolutionaries would be happy to see that there are white people who are hurting just as much, if not more, than black people about black people getting killed. Because that is a very heartwarming thing to happen, and it's very inspiring, and it shows me. And I'll be honest, as someone who grew up in the South, in a in Georgia, in the South, I've run across way more beautiful, respectful. I don't know what other word, what other positive word I could use. I guess human white people than I've run across racist. Um, and I understand in the grand scheme of things that doesn't mean much because the people I've met probably wouldn't even count for a percentage, a significant percentage of all the people in the world. But when I see videos on YouTube and people's experiences of them talking about the police, I don't think it's all bad. Um, but I feel like people in general have got to do better. Period. Um, Ironically enough, if I know a lot of people want to throw out, the race card, and I'm not going to be ignorant and believe that it's not race. There is a factor of it that includes race, but there's also a factor of resisting arrest. Not every situation is a pure black and white case. Actually, ironically enough, most cases aren't like that anymore. There's always an area of shaded gray. There are very few instances nowadays that is just a straight, he did this because of such and such. I watched some of the most recent videos that came out, and when I look at those videos, I could tell, at least for one of them specifically, I know of the two videos of the two recent cases that have come up, the cop was very distraught. I thought it was very interesting that the cop was more distraught than the woman was in the tape. And it kind of showed me that it's not just a simple, he's a racist fuck who wants to kill another black man. I don't feel like someone who is like that and is so hardened wouldn't have had the reaction that cop had. He was obviously, I think that cop immediately regretted what he did as soon as he saw it. Now, granted, obviously, whatever happens from this point forward would tell a different story. But as far as the video showed, I don't believe that every single shooting was the 100% fault of the police officer in question. When I try to take myself out of the situation and step into their shoes. When you take on this job, being a police officer nowadays is a rough ass job to do because let's be real here, a lot of people have a lot of animosity towards you, and for obvious reason. It's the obvious that the vocal 10% can fuck up the image of the good 90%, which ironically enough, black people should be familiar with because that happens all the time with us. The stupid ass niggas and thugs that are going around killing each other are the people that we're associated with and we are viewed as just for wearing hoodies and sneakers and shit. So I find it kind of funny that the two groups of people that are having so many issues right now have ironically a decent number of shit in common. That the majority of us aren't like that. Just like the majority of them aren't like that. But it's the vocal minority, no pun intended, that's fucking both of these groups up. And people have problems in general, you know. I'm not the kind of individual to believe that it's specifically on one particular thing. There's a bunch of different factors that can lead anybody into in numerous situations. People in general have got to do better, and I feel like we're moving towards it, but it's gonna take time. None of these this is not. You got to think about it. America is a very interesting country right now. It's the only country that has this amount of people with different religions, ethnicities, cultural backgrounds, all thrown into one place and told to just interact and live together in harmony. I didn't expect this shit to go smoothly. I'm not gonna sit here and cry and mourn over these men's deaths or the other people's deaths, and that's not nothing against them. You know, I don't want to give out that fake ass lip service where I just sit there and say, "Oh, I'm sorry for the families," because no matter what the fuck I say, they ain't worrying about what we saying right now. They lost someone who everybody who's lost somebody don't want to hear no, you know, I'm sorry for your loss and shit. They lost somebody. They need time to themselves to grieve. Um, and people die on a daily fucking basis. Half the people right now that are making videos and taking their bullshit ass stances will not give a fuck in a few months later, just like what happened with Trayvon Martin and various other cases, where people said what they had to say on Facebook and Twitter for like that 1 or 2 weeks, and then like as soon as everybody stopped talking about it, it just became irrelevant as fuck. And now George Zimmerman is just walking around, and people are just kind of like whatever, because that's how fickle human beings are. Nowadays, America is also known for being inherently selfish. There's a lot of people in this world who just don't give a fuck about nobody but themselves. And there's a whole bunch of other issues I can get into, like about how half of the people in these various groups, whether it's something like Black Lives Matter, whether it's something like, you know, defending the police or defending, you know, the people screaming racism. There are a lot of people in both of these groups that don't believe any of the shit. They're just kind of going with it because they want to be a part of the group and they want to be a part of something. We have a lot of sheep in this world. We have a lot of sheep in America, and people will just say shit. And just like I said, there are people tainting both groups. So I think realistically, the first thing we need to do is handle our own shit. We need to handle the thug ass niggas who are creating a bad name for us, and the cops need to handle these stupid, overzealous, obviously not ready policemen, quote unquote, who don't know what the fuck they're doing. I'm not the kind of individual who, and I might be repeating myself, so I apologize. I I couldn't sit here and do, and because nowadays there's also this whole stigma of you got to pick a side. the world is not like that. There is no side for this shit. It's like, oh, if you don't call out the policeman, you're a part of the problem. Or if you don't call out the obvious people trying to push racism into every situation, then you're part of the problem. I'm sitting there like, it could be a combination of both, right? It could be a combination of the person resisting arrest and making shit hard on themselves for no reason. This is what I always thought was fucking funny. For as much as black people say how they're scared of police and how they're afraid about what's gonna happen, I find it fucking funny as hell that a lot of these situations, black people don't even take their own fucking advice. The same advice that I heard 1,000 times about how you need to comply with the police and don't make this shit hard and just fucking do what they want you to do and don't try to get uppity and shit. Because, obviously, everybody's scared of police, apparently. A lot of these situations, people didn't do that. They wanted to get uppity and start shit. We supposedly know how this shit goes, and supposedly we know how police are, and yet we don't even take the advice that we were telling each other, which just confuses me. It's like you believe the cops are corrupt and the system is flawed. So instead of following the advice that you've been giving to the younger generation, and that's the other problem, racism will only truly die over time because some people are stuck in their ways. Old people in general are stuck in their ways. And that's for both. That's all races. That's just people in general are stuck in their ways, which means the thought process of those people will only die if people do not take up their mentality and they are able to just die peacefully. That's how we progress. We promote the positive and push back the negative. I'm not saying don't acknowledge it. I'm saying don't dwell on it. Because when you dwell on it, violence only breeds violence. I don't know any problem that was truly solved with just violence. There had to be some type of talking and some type of dialogue going on. And for people to come out here and just start shooting motherfuckers, you are not going to fix a problem if you do not allow yourself to talk. You have to talk. And at the end of the day, most people won't give a fuck about this kind of shit until it happens again. And we'll keep saying the same shit every time it happens. We'll be like, this is a travesty. How dare they? This is why we don't trust. This is why we do such and such. Da 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 da. But we'll also be the same motherfuckers that a few weeks later will also say will fucking contribute to the same bullshit that could have led into the situation in the first place. Niggas doing stupid shit. People are very dangerous. Human beings are probably the most dangerous species on the planet because we are very unpredictable. We can go in any fucking way. Meaning we can go from being the most peace-loving individual to a fucking dictator who commits mass genocide. And realistically, that's part of the reason why we have situations like these. But it's also because of the way we are that means we can move past it. But we got to be willing to open ourselves up to the other and look at each other's situations through their own eyes. Being a cop ain't easy. But being a black person in America nowadays isn't easy either. And both are for reasons that it shouldn't be happening. I'm not going to pick a side because I don't think anybody's truly right here. There is no right side here. There is just a lot of mistakes and a lot of ways we can fix it. If you don't like the way things are, make a change and make the right change. We have a system that you are free to use now. It's not like the old days where we had to fight just to gain the freedom to have a voice. We have that voice. And just throwing that shit on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube don't mean shit. It don't mean shit. I don't want no fake ass. I don't want no white person telling me how this is a travesty because they feel like that's what I want to hear. Actions speak louder than words. If you really hate the situation that the state is in, make a change that means something, and not a change that breeds more hatred. AKA, stop killing people. And stop letting your own people get away with this shit. And that goes for cops and African Americans. You see a motherfucker do wrong, do wrong. And you know what? Promote the ones who are doing right. Social media has made it look like everything is way worse than what it actually is. And I don't think it's as bad as people like to pretend that it is. But with the constant push from the media and social media of just constant negative shit in your face, you will eventually believe that that's all there is to the world. And it's a mental trick. If you start believing that what you're seeing is the end all be all, that can have vastly negative effects on you in the future. People die. That's the truth of this world. People die every day. Man, there are people who were shot today, and yesterday, and the day before. I'll put them in the list of the other ones that were raped, murdered, killed, fucking tortured in the most painful ways until they bled to death. I apologize if this video seems rambling. Just thoughts, man. I don't want to do this shit. I don't want to fucking sit here and look on my Facebook and see everybody just pick a fucking side and be like, the cops were right. The African Americans were right. You were both right and you were both wrong. I don't think cops are looking for niggers to kill. But there are cops that are killing niggers. The best thing you can do to make sure we stay on the right path is to continue to be a good person. Continue to pass down values that you think can benefit us in the future. And what can benefit us in the future is forgiveness and understanding. And it's what I said a while ago when I made a video saying the one thing I would love to, if I could only pick one thing to pass down to future generations, it's called being open-minded. If I can't put myself in the shoes of the policeman and understand his perspective, then how do I expect anybody else to? I can't sit here and make a statement about the police system or white people in general if I can't look at it from their point of view. People call that being, yo, you're just selling out. You're just trying to appease the old white man, you Uncle Tom ass nigga. No, I'm trying to be objective. We all have to do better. And you know what the first step is? Keep your eyes and ears and mind open to be receptive to all things, no matter who it comes from. And that is the first step into becoming a better human being. So, what you doing tomorrow? Peace out.